Thank you. Thank you. And from you, we hear the challenge of communication as being the biggest challenge. And so let's hear from the rest of the team.
And as I mentioned earlier, we just recovered from civil war. So, and the parliament role in Somalia, the current generation are not familiar, because the last time that Somalia had a parliament was 1969. Then after 1969, there was a military rule, which has one-party rule, and they just make a parliament lately the last 4 years before collapsing that government. So mostly people, they are not familiar how the parliament actually works, except the senior people. So therefore, since actually as a civil society, more being engaged citizens, how they participate in the governance process in Somalia, we just shifted now how the government engaged the citizens to be part of their decision making. And that's how we came up this initiative of engaging the parliament in Somalia. The second, when was elected this current parliament, our parliament has 14 committees, subcommittees. So we had a meeting, all those, the chair of the subcommittees, and agreed how can, a way we can collaborate as a civil society. So one of the outcome of that collaboration was the monitoring of the parliament, the performance of the MPs, and also the performance of the procedures. The other reason that we came up this monitoring parliament was at the first year that our parliament passed several bills without proper procedure. And the reason was the government, the executive government was influenced to push that bill to pass, because there are several conditions that the government has to fill. For example, the debt release of Somalia was actually one of the conditions that set of this bill is to pass quickly. So without proper procedures, it actually was passed. So those challenges are those who makes us to come up this initiative of monitoring our parliament. So we started discussion with the Speaker of the Parliament, and it is a permanent committee of the Parliament to discuss. Although the first time was so difficult, our discussion, because of they weren't familiar, civil society, to be a part of this Parliament sessions. So and then in order for them to convince to sign MAU with the civil society, we offered them that the benefit they will have our collaboration, which was how to connect, build the relationship with the community, our people, to the parliament. The second, the trust building. There's trust issues in Somalia between the government and our people, which actually related to what happened in the past. So our engagement with the parliament and collaboration will help the parliament to build the trust with the community. The third reason we offered that to the parliament was the parliament activities and its duties will become visible in our side. That's actually what we offered them and make them to accept to sign MAU with our civil society. Actually, that was one of the achievements that we reached. But the challenge we faced, not only to sign the MAU, but the accessibility of the parliament itself was difficult as a civil society. First, they are not familiar with civil society to be part. The second, there is a security concern that the parliament only discussed a close, actually, discussion. The thing was the new culture of collaboration of civil society and the parliament, which sometimes seems difficult for them to understand the role of civil society to be part of or to engagement of the parliament. The other challenge was the executive government actually has more influence to the parliament, and sometimes they are afraid the civil society to be involved in parliament activities, which sometimes seems that may face some challenge. That's also another challenge we faced at the beginning. But since we started this activity as a parliament monitoring, actually the parliament started more close to us, because we actually delivered whatever we promised for them. We actually engaged more community and organs forums where the parliament subcommittees to meet the civil society and open questions to the other civil society to ask during that forums. Also, we organize some forums that they can share their activities to the society through the media. So that helps us to build a confidence with the parliament, but still there's a long way to go in terms of access information in the parliament, which sometimes is not actually easy. And also one of the capacity building that we lobbied to have our parliament was the digital system of the way they are voting when they are passing the bills or discussions, which was very needed because of sometimes it was difficult to identify who voted yes or no. So that was also another activity that actually built the confidence that we have with the parliament to collaborate. But still, we are looking for the accessibility of some information in terms of attendance, in terms of what they will discuss in the next session, how they prioritize it. And also, we are still looking for how to work with the committees. Actually, I like Madam when she mentioned that the importance of the parliament is working with the committees. It's really very important. That is still, we haven't started, and we are still looking for how the committee to work with them in terms of attending their meetings, share what they come up to the community, and also engage more media. That's actually what we are trying to look for in the coming years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So I can tell from what my panelists have said and the discussion we had on the regional challenges of facing that we are all facing similar challenges. So allow me to focus more on the opportunities, if that's okay. They actually do. Infrastructure, lack of, really. Okay, so when we talk about the lack of civic or citizen participation in the legislative process, something that we've done as Chapter 1 Foundation is we are in the process of actually petitioning the legislature to enact laws that will guide citizen participation. That's an opportunity we've identified. Another opportunity that we've identified is using the law and a multi-pronged approach where we are advocating. So when I say using the law, I'll give an example of our case with Bill 10 at the time, that was in 2019, when it was tabled and we had raised concerns about some of the provisions that were in the bill. What we did is actually petitioned the bill. What that did is enhance citizen awareness and interest in the bill. I think that really worked well for us. Another example I can give is our recent work with cyber bills. We work closely with Bloggers of Zambia for the cyber bills, we actually had to meet the executive. We had an opportunity to sit with the legislators and the technocrats to go through the provisions. Even though the bills ended up passing and some recommendations were adopted, that didn't end our advocacy. Right now we are in the process of actually petitioning the bills. So I think overall what I can say are the opportunities is that we should never just look at one thing that we should do. We should always be strategic and think about what else we can do in addition to engage in parliament, in addition to breeding litigation, in addition to enhancing citizen awareness. So I think that's one of the opportunities that we can take advantage of, but also gunning for the small wins. Sometimes we always focus on the bigger picture and we lose track of the small wins. So if our goal, for instance, in the cyber bills was that the bills don't pass and we have an invitation to meet the executive and the cabinet to actually table our concerns about the bills, you take that opportunity, but you never lose sight of your overall goal. So I'll end there for now.
Thank you so much. I think I'm going to focus on the challenges, but we can turn the challenges into opportunities. And we can have 18 million challenges, but I'm going to focus, I think, on 4 or 5. Think about the conversations that we've had so far, yesterday and today, and it is about the new world that we're living in today. So as of January of 2025, everything has changed for us as organizations. So the context in which we operate and the life of our organizations has changed. And we need to take a step back and think how or if we're going to survive in this new world. So we don't have any more funding in the next foreseeable future. If new governments in the US come, we don't think that those funds are going to reappear. The Europeans are, to speak about this with name and surname, the Europeans are redirecting the funds into defense. And it's a challenge if we don't do anything. I think we have had this conversation in Latin America throughout this whole year, and I think an opportunity could be, there are different models of organizations, different ways of funding that are more creative and that don't come from the international cooperation, and that we're obliged to think in that direction. So this event could not happen in a couple of years. And as we say in Latin America, if we don't do anything, we're going to get full of dictators. Because we are organizations that, in a way, we work with parliaments, but we work in democracy. And we're seeing that there's less and less less profound